Hi everyone, this is Ashley Love with the Classy CEO. I'm really excited to be here. I just want to thank Liz for having me, and I want to say hi to all my replayers because I know our life is pretty crazy before anything goes on, right? I mean, 2 minutes ago I was just grabbing pizza because I don't have time to make dinner tonight. Um, so I understand how busy and chaotic it is. So if you're catching the replay, hey, hey. I'm really excited to be here. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that not a lot of people are talking about, which is your CEO mindset, right? So, I have like a bunch of notes here, but I want you guys to think about a CEO, right? And when you think about a CEO, you think of this sounds really terrible. You think of somebody like 40s, 50s, this guy in his suit, he's like, not really having a very good time. Um, he works all the time, he works like 80 hours a week, and I don't know, he just does like a lot of things. He just does like a ton of things, but none of it involves like his family, right? And he doesn't really get to like enjoy his life unless he owns the company himself. And so I want you guys to just think about that, right? That's the image that you might have as a CEO. And then I want you to just throw it away, right? Just throw it away. That's not a thing anymore. If you're on, say hi. I can see some people on, but I can't see who. So I want you to like get rid of that idea that you have to be this like that a CEO only is like 40 plus years old and wears a suit every day and basically hates his life because that's not really my Jimmy Jam. And I want you guys to think about for 1 second. I'm going to tell you something. If you own a business, which I'm going to assume majority of you do, you are a CEO, right? That is your role. And I think that a lot of times as online entrepreneurs and things like that, we have like a really hard time like calling ourselves that, right? Because we have all these associations with it as being, you need a boardroom, you need this, you need that, but you don't, right? And so it's time to really like own your role in your business, and to really just be the CEO that you're meant to be. And so when I do this, the first thing I do is like look at some limiting beliefs. And so I kind of went over some of them, right? A CEO is this, a CEO is that. They're mean, they're angry, they don't love their spouse. I mean, whatever it is, whatever those connotations are that you have with a CEO, I want you to write them out, and just think about those things. And then think about where they came from, right? Is it from movies? Is it from books? Is it from society? Like, where are you getting this idea? And what I want to say is that if it's coming from books, movies, et cetera, I don't read stuff like that anymore. I don't watch um, shows where there's like this really mean, evil boss. Like, I don't do any of that anymore because when I see it, I think about it, and then that kind of connotation like sticks with me. So I don't recommend stuff like that, for that reason. And so I want you to, yeah, write down what you think a CEO is, and um, write down any of these limiting beliefs you have about a CEO. Maybe you don't think that you're worthy of being a CEO. Maybe you don't think that you're, you know, smart enough or clever enough, or you don't have enough content, or you don't know how to run a business. Whatever that limiting belief is, I want you guys to write it down. I want you to write down where it came from, right? Because when we write it out, right, and you see it in your face, it's like pretty sad, right? You get a little bit sad. And I know like when I did this exercise and I wrote down these kind of limiting beliefs and things that I had, it was just such an eye opener for me, because then I always take a list of limiting beliefs, right? Whatever that list is. And then I want you to think about how it would feel if you said them to your best friend, your significant other, your dog, your cat, your fish, a stranger on the street. I mean, if you just walked up to somebody on the street, right, and you said one of those limiting beliefs, they would probably not feel very nice. And so we shouldn't be saying them to ourselves. So I want you guys to just kind of write down all those limiting beliefs, write down where they came from, because when you understand where they come from, it's easier to kind of cut them out and like work through them and create new thought habits. And so, along the lines of creating new thought habits, I want you guys to define a CEO, right? And whatever that means to you. For me, that means just working on my own terms. And sometimes for me, that does mean 80-hour weeks because I love what I'm doing so much. I have to like, my husband has to like stop me because I love what I'm doing so much. But for others, it could mean yoga pants every day and 3-hour work days. I mean, whatever makes sense for you. Sorry, always need water. So write down what a CEO looks like to you, right? You don't have to work 80 hours a week. You don't have to go to a boardroom. You don't have to worry about sick days. Like, just write down whatever it means to you. What kind of a CEO do you want to be? What kind of business do you want to run? And I want you guys to think about this in the long term, right? Because I think that a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we kind of like limit ourselves, right? We're like, okay, I'm a solopreneur right now. You know, sure, my business will scale up and I'll get a VA. Maybe I'll hire an OBM. Maybe I'll hire, you know, like a little bit more help to like outsource it. But that's kind of it, right? You just kind of see it there. And so I want you guys to think like really big. I want you to think about what kind of a CEO you want to be when you're running an 8-figure business, a 9-figure business, a 10-figure business, right? I always use the example of like Ralph Lauren, right? He started his clothing company, and I can guarantee he did not think that he was going to be doing $1 billion a quarter when he started, right? It's all about the way that you think about your business and seeing yourself as, you know, the CEO, the successful CEO. And so I want you guys to just really put yourself in that shoe. You know, what does that future look like for you? And just like write that all out too. And when you write it all out, it's a lot easier to like visualize and like keep yourself like going. And I want you to do everything from what do you wear, what do you drive, what kind of hours do you work, like what kind of travel do you do, what kind of company culture do you have. I think about all those things. I don't care if your company culture is you sitting at your dining room table like I am right now. I don't care, you know, what your company looks like. It's all about the mindset and the feelings behind it. So you guys do that. And then you're going to treat your business like a business. Okay, so this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves about new entrepreneurs is they have their business over here and this is plan A, right? They're like, I love my business, it's plan A. But then over here, they have plans B through Z already figured out. What am I going to do if my business doesn't work? What am I going to do? Stop it. Just stop thinking that, because all the universe is going to hear and all your thoughts are going to hear is my business isn't going to work out. That's all they're going to hear. And so I want you guys to like stop thinking about plans B through Z and just focus on plan A, right? And so I want you to treat your business like a business. There's that quote that says, if you think you can or you think you can't, like you're right, you know, and that's the thing is when you see your business as plan A, but B through Z are already in the works and laid out for you, plan A is already guaranteed to fail, right? Because you haven't really thought about your business the way that it needs to be thought about. And so some of the ways that I treat my business like a business is I have like a weekly schedule, right? I always have friends reach out to me and they're like, I have no idea how you, they're like, I have no idea how you do it because if I worked from home, I would be watching Netflix all day. And the thing is, it's so easy to just Netflix all day. It's so easy. Moana just came out yesterday on Netflix, and I am dying to watch it. I love Moana. I saw it in theaters. I love that movie. But instead, yesterday, I wrapped up some content for something new that I'm launching. Instead of watching Moana, that's my weekend plan, right? So I put my business ahead of like the fun things that I want to do all the time because it's really easy to just Netflix all day. I remember when I first started my business, I watched the entire series of Friends in like a month. And guess how successful my business wasn't. So when you treat your business like a business and you give yourself this schedule and things like that, I promise it just makes you feel more like you're in a business. And some of the other ways I treat my business like a business is I get dressed, right? Look, I curled my hair today. I threw on some makeup today and I like got dressed this morning and I have a perfectly good coffee pot, but I like went to Starbucks, I got a coffee, I got my croissant, and I like came home, I had my little me time and then like got to work. And so I don't care if you change from your pajamas to like another pair of yoga pants. It's the fact that you've like made this transition. Like I'm out of sleep mode and I'm moving now into work mode. Sorry, I'm like looking at all my notes. Okay. Another thing that I want to say is that you need to have long and short-term plans, not goals, plans. I hate the word goals. Um, Goals are just wishes, and plans have actionable steps, right? There's a strategy behind it. There are things that you're going to do. And so hobbies have goals. Businesses have plans. And so I want you to think about your long and short-term goals. And like I recommend doing a brain dump like once or twice a day with all of your goals. And that way you can prioritize and think about your business and all these kind of fun things. Um, because again, yeah, hobbies don't have plans, businesses do. And when you give your business some plans, right? I have some crazy long-term plans. I mean, like plans that I do not expect to come to fruition for years, years, but I have them. And so looking at them, looking at these huge long-term goals that I have, I can like work backwards, right? It makes my business seem less overwhelming. And it also keeps me going in my business. Like those times where I want to give up and everything like that and not treat my business like a business, I can't because I can see the long-term goals, right? I know what it is exactly I want. And don't be ashamed of whatever those goals are. Like some of my goals include like having a wedding because my husband and I never had one. We eloped. And that is something my business is going to support. And so, and I want to buy an antebellum house in South Carolina. You know what I mean? And my business is going to support that. So have like long and short-term goals for your business, where you want your business to go, what kind of things you want your business to support. Because when you know where it's going, it is easier to stay focused. Okay, next piece of advice is knowing your why. This is super important. And I know people tell you all the time, know your why, know your why, know your why, know your why. But how many times do you see a company, right? And you kind of have a general idea of what their why is. And then they like launch a product or they make this switch and it just like comes out of left field and you have no idea what's happening, right? It feels like the business, sorry, has like lost their way, right? They started really great. Oh, what kind of house in South Carolina? An antebellum house. Um, I want a very large, minimum like 100-acre, 1900, late 1800 house. I know what it looks like. I want a big white house with columns and I want like a little farm and all these kind of like fun things. And I'm waiting to have a wedding for when I buy the antebellum house because I want this big southern like antebellum wedding. I lived in South Carolina for 3 years, and so we live in Pennsylvania now. My husband and I are both from New Jersey, and we live in Pennsylvania now, and I hate it. I hate it. And so I can't wait to go back, and that's something my business will be supporting before Christmas. It will be supporting me moving back down there. It took me 3 years to get my husband on board to do that, but yeah, so that was a really long-winded answer for your question, but yes, Antebellum House is my jam. I found some great ones, and if anybody is ever interested, you can buy really great antebellum houses for pretty cheap down there. We found one in North Carolina. It was 175 acres, 4,000 square foot house. It needed the whole inside needed to be gutted, right? Don't get me wrong. But it was listed for like 150. I mean, I made 250, if you put 100,000 into it, you could have like this beautiful house. So I'm just saying if anybody wants their own antebellum house, don't think they're out of reach because you can totally get one. Um, so anyway, I wanted to talk about knowing your why, right? Because everybody talks about knowing your why, but the thing is that when you're as a CEO of your company, you need to be super intimate with your why. You have to know everything about your why inside and out. You need to know everything about this why, because it's just going to help you stay focused and on track, and it's going to make those tough times easier. Because I mean, don't think that the CEO of Ralph Lauren, because I doubt it's Ralph Lauren these days, is he even alive? I don't even know. Um, so don't think for one second that, you know, the CEO of the company like doesn't know the why and things like that. Like they need to know what is happening, where the business is going, and why they're doing it, right? Because there's plenty of times where you wake up and it's so hard. It's so hard. You have moments where you get down, you have clients that like bring you down, if you're not working with dream clients. You have negative commentary, you have people who don't believe in you. And so knowing your why is going to help you push through those moments. And I know that my why is something super important to me, and I keep it in my phone. I keep it typed in my phone so I can like read it all the time. And it just really helps me keep going. More water. Okay. This one is a big one. And I'm really excited to talk about this one. Decision making is basically the most important thing when it comes to being a CEO, right? This is your company, and so you get to decide what kind of business it is, and you make all the decisions. You get to make every single decision, which is pretty cool. That also means you have to get really efficient at it. And so I used to be like somewhat efficient in business making, decision making. But I would be like what's the word I'm looking for? Like passive when it came to my husband asking me like what I wanted for dinner. And so now, so I like, so it's really important to just kind of like flex those muscles, right? Flex your decision making muscles. And so for instance, today I was like driving home, I was like out and about, and I was like, listen, I coach gymnastics, and so I won't be home tonight. Like I never am. I don't get home till after 9 o'clock. And I was like, I don't feel like cooking. And so I'm going to order pizza. And he was like, cool, what do you want? And I was like, this is exactly what I'm getting. This is what I'm ordering. I'm just calling to see if you want anything in addition to what I'm already ordering. And he was just like, nope, I'm great. This is awesome. Called, made the order. It was here like by the time I walked in my front door. But it's like little things like that, like just flexing that muscle all the time, making decisions and being unashamed to make decisions, right? Because I think that a lot of times we hold ourselves back from making decisions from fear of what other people are going to think. We're afraid of, I don't know, making the wrong choice or, whatever it is. Oh my gosh, it is like getting like really dark and creepy outside. Anyway, you just don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid to make these choices. Do whatever feels good to you, because at the end of the day, you have to make you happy, and your business has to make you happy. And I'm going to tell you like a really fun fact really fast here. Last year I started, sorry, my things like keep falling out. I started my first company. It was called A Love Marketing, and it was great. I thought, this was like my first big thing. And I was like, okay, it's going to be so successful, all this stuff. And I didn't do mindset work. I didn't do client work. I didn't do like any of that. And because I was like, at that point I had like 3 degrees. I'm finishing a 4th right now, but I had 3 degrees in the marketing sphere. I had like international marketing awards. I'm like, I'm so good. Like there's like a fruit. Anyway, I was like, I don't need this stuff, like I don't need to do any of this like woo-woo nonsense stuff. And what happened was I didn't really make a choice. I didn't make a decision. I like decided to run my business, and that was kind of it. Picked like branding colors. That was it. And so I didn't decide on really anything else. And so everybody was my ideal client. And sorry, I'm very tired. I need more coffee. But we watched it. So I didn't design packages. I didn't decide on pricing. I just kind of like listened to everybody's story and then just charged them what I thought they needed, whatever I thought they could like swing, and super undervalued myself and all these things. And I cried every single day because I didn't work with dream clients. I worked with people who like completely undervalued me and everything. And it was miserable. It was such a miserable experience, all because I didn't make a decision. And so then when I made the decision to close that business, I like it was like a bittersweet thing because I went back to corporate and I did all those things. And then, about a year later, I made a decision to open my current business. And the decision that I made was totally different than the one I made a year prior. I decided to do mindset work. I decided to define my ideal client. I decided to define packages and all these things. And it's just a totally different business because I made a decision. And so now when I have like guest speaking opportunities or guest blogging opportunities or all these things, I can make a decision really quick. Does it align? Does it not align? Does it align with my why? Does it not? If it doesn't, no thank you. And so it's really cool that simple decision making just makes a massive difference. And so I want you guys to stretch that muscle as often as you can. And then, okay, I know I said, sorry. I feel like it doesn't matter what time I do live. Like I always happen to like get these like yawns, which is so frustrating. So I know I said decision making was one of the most important things, but I lied. Just kidding, sort of. It's actually learning. Learning is the most important thing you're going to do as a CEO. And so everything kind of comes down to what you know and how you grow. Personal development is something that I take very seriously. The first company I worked for out of college, I was still there during college. It was crazy. It was full-time in college in like a 9 to 5. Because they were just like, oh, you're graduating in 2 months. So whatever, it's fine. So I did that. And what I thought was really cool is every single week, our boss would just like kick us out of the office, be like, you're not welcome in the office today. Go to the library, a park, wherever. Go somewhere. We'll take you here. Here's money for the movies. Here's money for a comedy show. Like we were in Wilmington, Delaware. And so there was like total nightlife like happening, but it was like all day long. There's always something going on. Go see a band, get out of our office. And it was only the social media team that got to do that. Anybody in digital marketing got to do that. And there was only like 4 of us. But they would kick us out and they'd be like, go learn something, go up level your skill set and then bring it back to the office tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. And I thought that was so cool. It's something I've taken with me now. It's been like 4 years since I worked there, and it's just something I take with me all the time now. And so I spend every single day on personal development. I learn and I implement, and that's the most important thing that you can do is learn and implement. Because the more that you know, the easier it's going to be to make decisions. The more informed decisions you're going to make, the better decisions you're going to make, which is just going to be better all around for your company. It's going to make, being more intimate with your why like easier. It's all these things that we talked about, right? It's just gonna like keep falling into place. And so I highly recommend that you spend some time on personal development every single day. And it doesn't have to be something crazy, you have a 5-minute drive to the grocery store, find a 5-minute podcast because they exist, right? Stick that on the cart instead of listening to the newest Justin Bieber soundtrack. Or if you're like me, the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack. So there's always opportunities for you to learn something new. It's just about finding that time and prioritizing that. And so, yeah, that is basically my favorite way, right, to conquer your CEO mindset and to create a CEO mindset if you don't already have one. Yeah, I could probably ramble on about this forever, but I know it's been like 30-ish minutes already. Sorry. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, like feel free to reach out to me. I'm definitely here. Again, I'll be in gymnastics tonight until about 9, but after that, I am totally all yours. Yeah, so that is my fun spiel. I hope you guys learned something new. And yeah, I will talk to you so soon. Bye.